Immediately after the UN Security Council war vote came the real smashing of the people's upsurge in Bahrain and then in Yemen, with great loss of life and absolute brutality shown, and how much of that was because a message was being sent from the West that they were coming in to the region and it encouraged the dictatorships. So that's really both a question and a lead into your views, both on the revolution in Egypt and what we should be looking at now.
Yes, we have a long history. I was here in studying my postgraduate studies in Colombia in 1965. When I heard the name, somebody asked me, "What do you think of Ramsey Clark?" Ramsey Clark. I thought he's an Egyptian because Ramsey is a very, very Egyptian name.
I wasn't that lucky.
And I told him, "Is he Egyptian?" He said, "No, he's American. He was the Attorney General and he opposed the Vietnam War, etc., etc." So I started to admire him. My God, I was looking for an American against America, you know, which is good. It's very, very good to be against your own government, you know. It needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of courage, yeah. And then I met him and Sarah in many, many occasions, because every now and then there is a new war, so we meet. We meet in tribunals, in gatherings, political gatherings against the war, etc. And the tribunal here in New York, yes, against George Bush, the father and the son and the grandson, I don't know. Usually I say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Now what's happening is more or less a repetition. You know, France, Britain, US, European Union, armies, military powers, gathering against a nation. They are not going to kill Gaddafi, they are killing the civilians. Like they did not kill Saddam Hussein, except later, but they killed civilians. So how can you really understand? Of course, I'm very much against Gaddafi. I was against Saddam Hussein, against Mubarak, Sadat, but I don't agree that other countries with big armies to come and bomb the people, to get rid of the dictator. I don't believe in that. This is not a way. So in Egypt, we didn't ask America or any army to interfere. We got rid of our dictator by ourselves. So the people themselves should fight their battle against the dictator, but why they are intervening? They are not intervening to save Libyans. Why didn't they save Gaza people? They were killed. It's common sense. You remember when we spoke about creativity? Creativity means we ask questions. Why they interfere in Libya and they are so keen, so humanitarian, so human about Libyan people, and very inhuman in relation to Gaza, Palestine, and other people. Number two, why they support the most corrupt dictators in our region, like Saudi Arabia king. They support. You know, in Saudi Arabia now, there is some people revolting against the king, but it's kept secret because the global media, the American media, the Arab media, the Arab governments collaborate with American government, and they hide the revolt of the Saudi Arabian people in Saudi because they are afraid. Their big ally is King Saudi, who is really corrupt, and the system is very corrupt. but they are silent about that. So we see the contradictions. They supported Sadat, he was a dictator. They supported Mubarak, he was a dictator. But now, so we don't believe their humanitarian talk. They are going there, they are going to Libya, because Libya has the oil. They want the oil. If Gaza has the oil, it will be like Libya. They will defend the people there.
Afghanistan, where there wasn't initially one U.S. casualty. It was sheer hell for the people on the ground in Afghanistan, but there were no U.S. casualties. Now, 10 years later, 150,000 U.S. troops, 100,000 contractors. Iraq, they declared victory. Remember that May, mission accomplished. And here it is into the 8th year. So 3 years, can the U.S. really fight 3 wars, one in Central Asia, one in West Asia, and now another one in North Africa? And if you think there's any possibility that there will be U.S. troops introduced, or where this might be going in Libya. If you have any insights on this.
Well, we'll take any government that will do what we want it to. It doesn't matter whether it's, religious or military or popular or whatever. But if they don't do what we want them to, and they got something we want, then Katie bar the door. And that's why we're going after Libya now. Obama has a very difficult and complex political problem if he addresses it as a political issue rather than a moral issue, or what the country ought to do in terms of our self-dignity and place in the world. On Libya, they've already crossed the threshold. All those Tomahawk cruise missiles were ours. The first plane strikes were all ours. We'll try to back out of it as soon as we can, get surrogates to come in. We're particularly anxious to recruit Arab peoples from any place we can get them to make it look like it's Arab. We're not going to fool the Arab people. They know that this is the U.S. again attacking a country because it won't surrender its oil to our management. Obama's got to try to keep. It may be I can't overcome civil rights experience, but I have enormous hope for Obama. He's so intelligent. His books show he's such a decent, sensitive, and wise human being. But he's in a world he hasn't known. He's an outsider. He comes in. He brings all these people from the Clinton administration and others that he doesn't really know.
You gotta be kidding. He knows exactly what he's doing.
At least that's my interpretation of it. And he's got probably the emergence of the radical right, you might say, the Tea Party people and all that, confronting him, and he's making a lot of bad decisions. I don't think they're decisions that, if conditions were different, he would have made on his own, but that's neither here nor there. He's made them. But I think he sees that he, even though our people talk about Gaddafi's got to go, because the problem with Gaddafi, as far as the United States is concerned, is he wouldn't do what we say, If he had been like Mubarak or the kings of Saudi Arabia, he would, no matter how many billions of dollars he had stashed away for himself, as long as we got ours, he'd still be there. But because he was a maverick in the crowd, we didn't support him, as we've basically maintained most of the governments of the Arab world. It's a fluid situation. One plane went down today, and we got the guys out, apparently. If they had been captured, it would have been another reason to go in, another justification to go in. And we may get other justifications, but he's got people in the House from both parties that are attacking our leadership at the UN. I mean, we put the thing through at the UN, if you watched, and it's one of the worst resolutions that the UN has ever passed, and that includes a lot of bad ones. And I'm for world government. I'm for decent world government. So I think the probability of our sending troops on the ground is about 50-50 right now. We don't want to. We want to send other people in on the ground. We want to install. Nobody knows who these people in Benghazi that are really leading from there are, what kind of government they would install, whether they'll be, because there hasn't been the massive popular uprising that you had in Egypt, whether they'll lead to elections or whether just an installation of a new autocratic government. But right now, I think our duty is to demand that our government stay away from Libya and get out of Afghanistan and get out of Iraq and come home and start working on our environment and our infrastructure and making our country decent again, if it ever was.